Hey guys.
Good morning, Louise. Do you mind if we ask you some questions?
No, not at all. Just let me lock it up here. How are you doing this morning?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Nice. So the first question is, what is your go-to breakfast?
My go-to breakfast. So I always eat breakfast, but I don't have a go-to breakfast except that it's usually leftovers. So I always eat breakfast, but my breakfast is usually pizza or something I have in the fridge. Um, Occasionally, I will treat myself to a pastry.
Nice. And the second question, how long have you been with PBHA?
I came in late 99, so we're getting close to 25 years.
Amazing. Next question is, what makes you want to do the work that you do at PBHA?
Um, when my head hits the pillow at night, um, I can feel proud of the work that I'm doing. Um, when I talk to people about what I do, I feel good about what I'm saying. Um, and I love working with students. So it's the possibility of doing good, working for a nonprofit, and also working with really bright, really passionate students.
We love to hear it. What roles have you served at PBHA?
Always fundraising. I was the Centennial Campaign Assistant when PBHA was running its Centennial Campaign. I worked very closely with Frank Duhay and Susan Collings. And then I became the assistant to the director of development, and then I became the senior development coordinator.
Nice. Can you tell us about any fundraising things that are happening right now at
We
PBHA?
got a lot going on. SUP auction is coming up. Fundraising for SUP 2024 is happening. We've got the 120th anniversary of PBHA, for which we are strategizing certain fundraising campaigns. And then we're working with Harvard a bit to identify some major donors who would be interested in supporting PBHA.
Amazing. And what year was your favorite sub auction?
I don't know the year because I think of them more in terms of place. I think we had a lot of fun when it was in the Queen's Head pub, which is in the basement of Memorial Hall. We had some really good auctions over in the Knaufel Center at Radcliffe, and I'm really excited to be back in Gutman Library this year, which is a really beautiful, expansive space with a really modern look and feel.
Amazing. And what is the craziest sub auction item you've ever seen?
Skydiving.
That's cool.
I would never do that. They also had a hot air balloon. Again, not my cup of tea, but I think we got close to $2,000 for it. And speaking of the auction, I've got a bunch of work to do on that today. So if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to let you guys go. And feel free to come in whenever you have any questions about fundraising.
Thanks, Louise.
I said, good day, sir. Hello.
Hey, Louise, where are you off to now?
I'm off to Cambridge Common to commune with nature. Are you following me?
Yes, we are.
All right.
So, what are your favorite animals to see on your walk?
All animals are my favorite animals, but I like to see the squirrels and the birds and any dogs that people are walking.
Nice. Feeding animals is pretty crazy. What is the craziest PBHA memory you have?
Oh my God. Some of them I can't really repeat. They were about finding weird objects and things that people left in the building. And I think you can probably use your imaginations to figure out what I mean.
What does a place like PBHA have to offer students and young people?
What was the question?
What does a place like PBHA offer to students and young people?
I mean, we always say that it offers them a home, right? A home away from home, away from home. I think a lot of our students feel uncomfortable their first couple of years at Harvard. And I think PBHA is a good way for them to connect with each other, to make friends who aren't going to be judgmental, who are coming to this kind of work, I think, with open hearts. So I think it can offer them that kind of landing spot. And it's also a good way for them to connect with people outside of Harvard. Here's one of my guys. Hey, bud. He's going to try to eat them all. But they can mostly fit, I think, 3 at a time. I like to go this way.
What does a place like PBHA offer for yourself personally?
It's a good atmosphere in which to work. I think the people on staff are some of the kindest people I've ever met. It's very fortunate to have those kind of people in a work environment. I think I hear stories from my sister who works for a large pharmaceutical company, and I know she has some, toe-curdling stories about how the people there treat each other, and that really isn't the way we treat each other at PBHA. It really is, I want to say like a family, but not everyone has. So let's just say it's like a good family.
And how do you think PBHA is a part of Women's History Month?
That's an interesting question, because PBHA at its inception was not a place for women, and it's something that only started to open up in the late 50s and early 60s, when its programs were open to the women of Radcliffe College. I think, though, since then, it has been a place that has really welcomed female and female identifying volunteers. I think it's been a good place for them to exert leadership, because I don't think that some of the other spots on campus were as open to women and women identified people as PBHA was. I know its first female president, Molly Taylor Samedi, is class of 61 or 62. So going way back then, I think it's been pretty even in terms of the officer team, evenly split. So I think that's one way that PBHA has been a good experience for everybody.
Is black your staple color?
Is what?
Is black your staple color?
I've heard people tease me and say that it's not even a color, but it's a combination of, is it a combination of all the colors, or is that white? I don't know. It's just easier for me. I don't have to decide about anything, and I tend to gravitate towards darker colors. So I guess it's my favorite color. Sure. Probably not for food, though.
Would you ever wear a different color?
I have, on occasion.
What color was that?
I like red and pink.
Does anyone ever copy your style?
Yes. I'm glad you asked that. You have, and the Nonprofit Management Fellows have. There's a day called Dress Like Louise Day that takes place in January, and the NPMFs, the Nonprofit Management Fellows, dress like me. I believe there's photographic evidence of Dress Like Louise Day.
And what's one thing people don't know about you?
They don't know a lot about me, but I know how to upholster furniture.
As you feed your animals,
Here they are.
do you
Come on,
name
guys.
any of your animals?
Here they come. Hey, buds. Come on. think we're going to get a crowd today.
Do you name any of your animals, Louise?
What's that?
Do you name any of your animals?
No, because I have so many. There's a couple of little squirrels in the yard that have names, because I see them more often, but no, I don't name them. I used to.
What are the types of animals that you feed?
Squirrels, birds, meaning house sparrows, starlings, blue jays, an occasional cardinal, and nuthatches. And I'm hoping that maybe we get to see a nuthatch today.
What are 3 things you can't live without?
3 things I can't live without. Books, my bicycle, and movie.
What's the most adventurous thing you've done in your life?
The most adventurous thing I've ever done. I would say going to Norway and Sweden by myself for a couple of months after I graduated high school.
What's the best advice you ever received?
I don't know. I mean, it's always hard for me to think of best because things are best at certain times of your life, and then at other times they're not really applicable. I mean, I would say do the kind of work that you love, because then it isn't really work. And I think that's probably true of me.
There's a sad reality that service work does not pay as well as other fields. What advice would you give to young people aspiring to be in service but struggling to choose between higher paying work?
I mean, it really is, I think, their decision, and they have to weigh the pros and cons and look at their own family situation. That being said, it's always possible to do service work and to be a servant leader, regardless of whether you do that as a career or you do things like volunteering or doing, voter registration drives, helping people in your neighborhood paint something, being a good neighbor to people. So while I would like for those students who want to do public service to have that opportunity as a career, I would say that don't think that if you don't make a career out of it, that you can't do public service. It's always possible.
Thanks, Louise. See you back at the office.
All right. Come on, buds.